edition of Inside Great Lakes Sailing. My name is Greg Norman. We're lucky enough to have with us Todd Jones, who is the proprietor of Thomas Harbor, a long-time boat supplier, sailboat supplier here in St. Clair Shores. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for sitting down with us.
Yep.
We would have done this on your new facility because you're moving, and we're going to talk all about that. We're on the tug here at Bayview. You've been a member here an awful long time. And again, thanks for sitting down in this huge rainstorm.
Absolutely. So glad to be here.
It's one of those things. And just going through your new facility, it's mud all over the place.
Yeah, it's a famous site. It's the Goat Yard, which is an old brick factory. A lot of people, from this side of town know of the Goat Yard, the Crescent class sloops. That's their home. That was the original fiberglass boat. We've moved around a bit. So, brief history. Thomas Harbor started in 1919.
100th year in March.
100th year last year. Supposed to be 101st year.
Yeah.
Started by Mr. Thomas and Garish, hence the name. Originally a traditional hardware store down at Lafayette and Townsend by the Belle Isle Bridge. During the 50s, my dad and his partner Don Fires were working there part-time. They were both full-time at DTE. My dad was in collections, and Don was a line worker.
It's not a combination.
Right. Well, Don did the rigging, and my dad was sales and collections.
And collections. You didn't too far to worry about finally getting paid for it.
Right. So this is mid-50s. My dad was starting to sail Lightnings and started to slowly bring in more and more sailing products into the store. Early on, you had to import everything. There was no U.S. manufacturers. All the dinghies were made in England. All the parts came from England. So it was crates, bins, boxes of stuff coming from England. So you slowly started to build up inventory, and then as sailing became more popular, that kind of started to take over the store. Unfortunately, Mr. Thomas and his partner passed away very close to each other, and Mrs. Garish was still there. She was doing the accounting, so she asked my dad and Don if they wanted to take the store over. And this was late 50s.
1952 is when your dad actually bought the store, right?
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But so in the 50s, they asked him, and they looked at each other and said, all right, let's give it a run. So, as slowly as sailing became more and more popular, back then you bought a boat, it was bare. Like, it didn't have winches, didn't have interior parts, you got a hull and a deck. So the chandlery, Thomas Hardware, you had to get everything. So
was the sort of the explosion of 30-foot cruising boats, 35-foot cruising boats in the 70s?
Yeah, mid-70s.
The O'Days, the Pearsons?
Correct.
That's kind of when it went from niche
to mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, it became
fiberglass construction, a lot more popular.
More carrying ironing boards than anymore. You're carrying a lot more.
Right, basically, and then converted to all sailing.
What happened to that part of the world? There doesn't seem to be building as many cruising boats as they used to.
There's tons of cruising boats being built, mostly by the French, Beneteau and Jeannot.
But
obviously Europe's a much different market than the U.S. It's what you do over there. Over here, much smaller niche, and you got to have water access, and it's just harder to get into.
Dad buys the business. Obviously, it's successful. They take off. Somewhere along the line, you step in.
Yep.
Was that predetermined?
No. I went to Arizona State.
Okay.
My brother's in the military, so I kind of got called back in by him. He's 8 years older. After I graduated college, we had a meeting. He said, you should probably go back home and help Dad out.
So
I said, okay.
What was your degree in Arizona State?
Bachelor of Science in Advertising.
Okay, so there's some connection.
Not a lot.
You're a local Grosse Pointe boy.
Correct. Grew up here.
What high school?
Grosse Pointe South.
South. Okay. Seems like everybody that sails comes from South.
Seems like it.
The high school has got our coaching staff at Crescent for some junior sailing. This year is going to be the entire South team.
Right.
I think we've got 8 kids, and I think they're all from South. So there must be something about the water.
It's proximity to water, like I said. You need water to go sailing, and we live here.
When did you first start sailing?
I did junior sailing for about 2 weeks. Got kicked out. Didn't get along.
That's that story.
Didn't get along with the instructor.
Okay.
I was with a good friend of mine, actually my dad's partner's son, Barry Fires. We're sailing a 420, and we're doing well. And the coach made us do a couple 360s. Let the fleet catch up to us. So finally, we're about to win this practice race, and he tells us to do another one, and we're like, no, just let us finish, and we'll sail the next race, and you can coach us then. So basically, berated us. My skipper swore at him. He rammed us, and it turned into a physical altercation, and he told us to sail back to shore, suspend us for 2 weeks. We never came back.
In the early days, Dad bought parts of a tartan to put together a 42.
My dad and uncle bought a tartan 42, just the hull and the deck, and then pieced it together. They bought Canvas Cup was big back then, so they bought a spare mast, boom, sprinkler pole, and a bunch of sails for like $5,000.
How do you get involved in the sale business of hardware, rigging, and all the rest of it? I mean, that's kind of an unusual. It's not like you're going into selling.
Right. So, like I said, back mid '70s through the '80s, that was the boom time for sailing, and the boats came relatively bare. So you had to buy everything from your local chandlery. There was no internet. There was no online.
Right.
Thomas Harbor was it. If you bought a boat in Detroit, that's where you went. So that's so it's very hardware intensive, and rope and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
Would you rig it better than the guy building the boat? Would you build it better than Pearson?
Absolutely.
Just because you take
Just
the time.
its expertise and sailing on tons of different boats. I mean, a production boat, you're going to get basic.
Right.
If you come to us, you'll get something a little more customized to what you're using the boat for. Obviously, we can do the basics for a cruising boat, but our clientele is mostly racing, so everything's a bit more customized.
I have a 30 day from 1980, and if you read the history of the boat, the quality of the hardware on the boat went down from 79 to 83 as they were building them, because they kept wanting to keep the price point at a certain rate. So instead of Schaefer, they put on cheaper kinds of things. You think that they want to keep the quality from some standpoint, but that's not the process.
Manufacturing, you got to save a dime. And a lot of these guys are out of business, so they didn't save enough.
If you've ever been in a Thomas Hardware, it's not like walking in West Marine. It's not like walking in a typical store. As far back as the early days, it was kind of scattered. Nobody is going to design your inside the way you guys have designed it. It's a collection of a lot of stuff.
Correct.
If I need 12 of the best things, you've got them, and nobody else may have them, but you may have to look for them.
We're a lot better.
Okay.
Back when it was boom times, and you get truckloads of stuff coming every day, just wasn't time to organize it. Right. So a lot of times my dad was selling stuff out of a box or a crate. He's like, it would come in, he knew exactly where it was, and be like, it's over there, go get it. As inventory is pared down, it's a lot easier to keep track of stuff, and we're a lot more organized.
Let's just talk a little bit about the move. You've been in Grosse Pointe Farms.
Yeah, so started at Lafayette and Towns in Detroit.
Right.
68, moved to Grosse Pointe Farms, and then sold that building so my kids go to college. And then 4 years ago, moved to Grosse Pointe Park at Charlevoix and Weyburn, which is actually the old Hood Sales Loft, where Tim Woodhouse had his loft. And now back to Detroit, full circle.
Why coming back? What's the whole point of downtown? Or not downtown? 95
I mean, I guess our biggest advantage now is the business synergy being in a marina. Obviously water access, and customers can actually bring their boat to us. Every business needs volume and margin, and with that deteriorating, we're more of a service-based industry. So I'm always going to customers' boats, climbing masts, doing this, doing whatever, furlers, hard deck hardware. So now, in certain cases, people can just bring their boat right to us.
You made a move in October?
We just finished moving about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so
we're not up and running. The building's under construction.
You have Quonset huts at this point.
Correct. So there's 3 containers separated with Quonset hut roofs over the top. They'll get front walls and back walls and garage doors on the front. So all enclosed, heated.
You've been notoriously good at putting the only maybe display for ocean sail racing sunglasses. Will that be a part
Ocean racing?
Ocean
No.
racing sail?
No, we're not going to be with Ed Crease Ocean Racing anymore, unfortunately.
If you wanted to see an actual ocean sailing racing sunglass, you'd have to actually go to your store.
That was the only retail location. Hopefully Ed finds another one soon.
So you're not going to carry any retail of any kind then?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Full, yeah.
So basically the same thing you did before.
The business model stays the same.
Okay.
Everything but the boat or the sails.
Okay.
So for the crew, safety, power of the gear, personal items. For the boat, everything, like I said, except for the sails, and just more service based.
The niche part of the discussion is that you obviously are, if you're a sail racer in this lake, any place in the Midwest for that matter, everybody knows who you are.
Correct.
How about the rest of us who don't know who you are in terms of the real things you do? What do you supply for those folks who might not know you? Why would we give you a call? I guess is the question.
We've been at this so long, we've got the most experience in the industry, obviously. I've been at this for 40 years, unfortunately. grew up with it. So we're going to get you the right product the first time. You can go on the internet, do all your own shopping and searching, whatever, but you always end up with the wrong thing. So we can save you time and money just by getting it right the first time.
What do you like about it?
Customers, for the most part. You know, it's the people. It's sailing is a social sport, so it's the people you surround yourself with.
What don't you like about it?
It's retail.
Okay. Is the internet cause problems in terms of people think they know more than they know?
Absolutely.
So if we come to you, you should just kind of listen, unless you.
I'd start there.
Okay. No, I'm saying just,
like we just discussed, the customer's not always right. You know, but it's a dialogue. If an informed customer is the best customer.
Right.
You come with information, and we're going to have that dialogue and figure out the best solution for you.
And once you figure out a customer knows what they're talking about, is that an easier conversation?
My favorite.
Because
customer.
now you're figuring out what makes sense.
Right.
The reason I'm asking the question is if I come to your facility, if I come to Tom's Hardware, I should come prepared. Is that a fair statement?
Well, you need to know your boat. You need to know what you're after. You know, it's simple questions for me. It's like, what kind of sailing are you doing? What kind of boat do you have? What's your budget? You know, it's pretty straightforward.
I've come to your facility several times not knowing and saying I don't know, because I have no problem saying I don't have a clue. And you provided me with something that wouldn't have been provided someplace else. And I went thinking there's no way it's going to work. And lo and behold, it worked.
Right.
And it was a part that was actually better than what I could have purchased from other facilities. So I find that remarkable. That being the case, I'm not sure you're a household name in terms of the sailing world, or are you? It doesn't seem like it.
Correct. I mean, our online presence isn't huge. We're more local and word of mouth. You know, if you try and do an internet business, it's a whole nother business.
Right.
You really can't do both.
Right.
You can do one or the other. So we've decided to stay local, support our client base.
Did you ever figure out how many annual clients you have?
I mean, we do have accounting software, but not everything goes through it, so it's hard to tell. I would say 2,500.
What's the bulk of your business? Rigging?
Bulk of the business would be, rigging, cordage right now, then follow the gear, safety, and then hardware.
Does the consulting fee come, if I want to buy something for my boat that's not just I want to buy a roller furling, but I don't have any clue how to put it on. I'm coming to you to say I need a roller furling. Are you going to you're going to consult with me, sell me that roller furling, and then maybe charge me to put it on?
Correct. I mean, if we're going to install it, of course, there's a labor fee. But there's no, I mean, we'll sell it to the same price as the internet, but we just tack on the labor and install it.
What's the biggest mistake sailors make? Even racers, what's the biggest mistake you see us making?
Mistakes.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess, like you mentioned, thinking you know more than you do.
What physical? Go ahead.
I mean, the hard part with sailors is they're, fiercely independent, typically well-educated. Like I just said, engineers are common. Hard-headed. They like to overthink problems. There's always a simple solution. I like to keep things simple,
right.
And people want to overthink it and make it harder than it's supposed to be.
What mistakes do racers make more along these days? And not so much what they knew or what they don't know, but what physical, how could I'm not sure what question I'm trying to ask. Let me ask a specific question. What do racers get wrong when they come to you? Is there a general kind of thing?
They're coming to me, they're doing it right.
Okay.
I mean,
no, but I'm saying, is there...
Well, sometimes they come to me after they've created their own problem, and now I've got to fix it.
Okay. How much of your fixes are unique to that boat versus industry, or
fortunately around Detroit, it's a lot of one design. So you got the big fleets of J120s, Cal 25s, CC 35s. So all those boats are fairly common. So they do share information, and the mistakes aren't that grave.
You do a lot of business as well in good used supplying equipment.
Not so much anymore.
Okay. Was that part of that? Flocks,
we had so much inventory from the 80s and 90s that it was in bulk.
Right.
Like people would come in, go through the bins, and slowly. It was all new, but it would just slowly.
Are you
thin
finishing
it down.
that?
Yeah, that's pretty thin down.
Because it's just not. It's money sitting there.
Right. There's no reason to carry it.
How often do you sail now?
Not often enough. I'm traveling in 2 weeks to Fort Lauderdale to sail on a IC-37. I'm going to go to Portland to work on a Santa Cruz 70 with a customer in February. March is hopefully a race to the Bahamas on a local J120.
So wintertime probably more than summertime.
Summer pretty busy. I'm campaigning a CNC 41, so that's every Wednesday and Saturday, and then other stuff in the area.
It seems to me that the people that get involved in business, of the sport they love, of the job that they love, end up loving it. But a lot of times you become slave to the process rather than enjoy it.
Correct.
It becomes, the guy wants a marina, he listens to the marina, and they knock on the door at 4 o'clock in the morning because their engine doesn't work. I'm sure that happens to you all the time.
Right. I mean, that's so, like, where I'm at, in professional sailing, there's Cat 3, pro, paid, or Cat 1. I decided to stay at Cat 1 because I think if I went to that next level and charged people to sail, it would just take something away from it for me. So therefore, I come sail for free, and I think I enjoy it more. Just less pressure, and actually enjoy the sport.
I want to go back to the question because I know what I'm asking, but I'm not sure I'm asking it correctly. What percentage in this lake of the sailboats race versus cruise? And then the follow-up question to that would be, the average cruiser does this thing, knows what he's supposed to know, but I wonder what the average cruiser could improve his boat. That would really be, I guess I'm looking at that from my perspective. If you were to walk on my boat, I wonder what would thing that, because I don't know a lot of things, so what would it be I could improve?
To anything that takes leisure time, it's got to be easy, it's got to be fun. So whatever it takes to make your boat easier to sail, you're going to have more fun. Okay. So it's just make sure all the systems work properly, make sure the rope size correctly, make sure the boat's easy to use. Make sure the furler works right, make sure the main goes up and down easy enough and you can control it, if you got 1 or 2 people on board. It's the simple stuff.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
I asked that question because if you start talking to some of the racers, I belong to Crescent, and you start talking to some of the folks around me, they tune a boat like it's like they're surgeons. And I sometimes wonder, again, I come out of the ski world, you can buy very expensive wax for your ski. Or you can put a couple of smaller waxes together and put the same thing on the bottom for half the price, and it works just as fast.
Right.
And you don't have to have $3,000 wax. You can buy it, but so sometimes it seems to me in sailing, and the technical part of sailing, which is where you're involved, there seems to be sometimes a little over purchase, overbuy.
I'd agree.
Okay.
I mean, to do well at racing and sailing, it's time on the water. You can try and optimize your boat best you can, but one bad tack is going to blow everything you worked on. So the better you can sail, the equipment becomes less important.
Your experience with junior sailing wasn't the best, but did it point you in the right direction?
So after my junior sailing incident, I just got thrown on the big boat, on the tartan we talked about earlier, sitting between my dad and my uncle. The boat was named the Great Whisper for a reason. All they did was yell at each other. They were booming voices across the lake. Everybody knew the boat. Everybody knew the Jones brothers. So basically I learned how to sail sitting between them. My uncle did the bow, my dad was the skipper, and it was a fiasco. But ended up learning a lot in the process. 14 years old on a 42-foot boat.
You had a chance, Dad passed in 2005.
Yep.
You had a chance to spend a good portion of your formative life.
I'm very thankful for. A lot of people don't get that opportunity.
That's got to be a business. You sailed together.
Right.
You had a lifetime together.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Your dad was, talk a little bit about your dad. He was, from everything I've heard, he was the king.
He was a cantankerous personality. Like I said, the booming voice.
Big heart though.
Huge heart. Treated everybody the same, poorly. Would berate you, swear at you, but everybody got the same treatment. But in the end, heart of gold. So there was one story, a customer was sailing down in Ohio on a tartan 10, blew up his Harkin Traveler end caps, which means you lose the balls and Traveler doesn't function anymore. My dad got in the car and drove down $10 a parts to Ohio so the guy could stay in the regatta.
Not many people know that story. The story that I know from my experience with Thomas is that you always got the right fix. It was always the right suggestion, even if it wasn't the most expensive suggestion.
Nope. No, I've sent plenty of people walking for free to say, here's a simple solution to your problem.
Has that been the key?
You got to take care of your customers.
But there's a thing between
what's called trust.
Right.
There's a dialogue between the customer and the business owner or employee, and you have to trust that person to send you the right way.
Have you ever figured out in your business model what the attrition is, what it is to keep a customer, what your percentage is to keep them?
I think our percentage is pretty high.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
But great loyalty. Like I said before, you asked what's the best thing about the business? The customers.
I had to put new lifelines on my boat this year. I bought it online like I didn't know, because I didn't know any different.
Sure.
You let me borrow a
Crimping tool.
yeah, and I had one I thought could just take off locks from home, which turns out didn't
No,
work.
different tool.
It would fray it and all the rest of it. And
Right, the wire cutters.
the wire cutters.
Yep.
I borrowed it, and I bought plenty of stuff, but the reality to it is I won't buy anything any other place now, because those are the things that
The little things.
keep business. And if I'm at home watching this, I'm kind of hoping that people get the understanding of, there used to be a place in Garden City called Garden City Sporting Goods when I was a kid, and he really only offered specialty, like A2000 is a very expensive baseball bat. There would only be one here and one there, but he'd have 12 of them. And there was no retail stuff, there would be boxes. If you wanted a brown one, he'd say a third row from the right.
Sounds exactly
Anybody
familiar.
that bought anything that was worth something that was going to stay a long time, this guy had it. He just knew that his clientele was at the upper echelon. And so he didn't worry about whether or not they had racks of the rest of the stuff. And he always serviced, and I think that's the cool part about what you've been doing.
Right.
You know, from that standpoint. What's this new facility? What's the next part of Thomas Hardware? Where's it go?
So same business model, but like I said, being more service oriented, having the ability to have a customer be able to bring his boat to us, that can be nice. And plus we can offer like a full package when we're done. Racing customer, obviously the bottom is important, so that can get done there. Paint, cosmetics, that can all get done there. And then we can rig on site.
Hoist, where you have it?
Yep.
Okay. So you got,
Travel lift, 2-yard cars, cranes, all of it.
it's going to make your job easier, I think.
Absolutely.
Because you're not in the car 100 times traveling.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even the store and grocery park to St. Clair Shores and back is over an hour. It's just that's time. Time is money.
What's the future of sailing around here? What do you think the future is? Are we dwindling and dying as would suggest? And I say that yacht clubs are fighting tooth and nail to
I think
keep their doors
so.
open.
Yeah, there's no backfill, unfortunately. Like somebody my age should own a boat by now, and I don't, and none of my friends do. Like you look at Bayview currently, there's only a couple guys under 50 that own boats. I mean, there's a few Cal 25s scary about, but like big boat sailing, I think it will continue to get smaller. I personally like the concierge sailing concept. Like we have a fleet of U20s here. It's just easier and it's faster and it's fun. That's the key. If you're going to compete with all the other leisure sports and time events, sailing's got to be accessible and easy. So I think the future would be, smaller stuff right here at the club, equipment provided. The Mackinac will survive. The big boats will be here. But as far as activity level, Saturdays will get quieter. Just time's too important. And
The cost of new boats has gone up. They're easier to sail. Everything's power, furlers, power, this, that, and the other. The reality, though, is that the used boat market, there isn't one. I mean, you can buy all kinds of boats.
boats are free.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what you put into a boat, you're not getting out of it.
Correct.
And that goes back to that there's just not a client base for buying 30-year-old, 35-year-old cruising boats. They're just not.
Right.
But then new boats are 125 to 150,000 to start for anything
Or more, yeah.
I've seen boats that, a J70 is what, 75, 80,000?
65, 70,000
For sitting in an open cockpit?
For a 22-foot boat.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. But you got to look at it as how do you want to spend your time. Like people now want experiences, and there's nothing like the experience of being on the water. So it's obviously an investment, but you're investing in yourself and your peace of mind and your leisure. If you want to spend your time on the water, then I think a boat's worth pursuing.
Last question, and that is, take a time frame. It's January the 10th, 11th?
Yep.
Take a time frame as to what the new facility,
So I think
weather related, obviously.
weather dependent. So the first Quonset hut roof is on. The second one's about 30% right now. So that's probably 3 more days of work to get the second roof done. Then that's the hard part, is the roofs. Then the back walls, front walls, install garage doors. I'm hoping mid-February everything's enclosed. We'll have gas radiant heat, and then we'll start cutting the boxes apart and getting set up. So I think by March 1st we'll be up and rolling.
And when the weather and the snow finally melt and things get back to the same hours you've always had, which goes back to
essentially,
phone numbers, everything changes the same.
Email, phone numbers are all the same. Obviously, you call us, we can meet you anywhere. That's the thing. Small business, we're very accessible.
Cool. Well, listen, is there anything I'm missing?
Well, I mean, we go back to junior sailing. I mean, that's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah.
How do you get kids engaged, and how do you keep them? An important discussion is, so you get junior sailing is obviously popular, college sailing is doing well. How do you retain them after college?
Do you think, on a junior sailing standpoint, do you think we are? It seems to me that we not following a lot of the models of other sports to make it. The attrition rate across the board for kids start when they're 8, and it doesn't matter the sport. And they start when they're 8, by the time they get to 14, it's a 69% dropout rate across the board. And almost all of that is related to parents. Burnout.
Sure.
For lack of a better
parents
term.
push too hard.
Everything has to be coached. Everything has to be, we don't have, now use the term sandlot. One of the things we want to be able to do this year with some of the junior programs that I'm involved in is let kids go out for 45 minutes to an hour before the day starts. Put them between the 2 piers inside of a marker where the water's only up to their chest, and put a couple coaches out in boats where they can just watch to make sure they're safe, but don't coach them every 30 seconds. Just let them go sail.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the water. Enjoy the time.
Learn how to do all the goofy things you did as a kid when there wasn't things around. If you don't make the perfect turn, oh my gosh, there's a coach all over you. There's a parent looking with binoculars, with a radio.
Let alone kids.
Nuts.
No adult wants to live like that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be micromanaged.
And we need to do a better job of putting kids on bigger boats, have that experience.
I totally agree. So
something.
one issue I had with junior sailing was the Optimist, that choice of equipment. It's not a very good boat, and the kids, they're 8 years old and they're by themselves. I don't think that's an enjoyable experience for a lot of kids.
What would you sail at that age?
The Open Bic is a nice platform, a little more fun, a little more skiff-like, or put multiple kids, in the same boat.
The junior sailing director from Bayview,
Mike Cowan?
Mike and I are looking at a second boat, a third boat actually, between an Optimist and a 420. Something he can graduate to, because from the stub-nose Optimist to a fairly fast 420, there isn't much.
Right.
We don't have anything from a competitive standpoint, and certainly it's an investment, but we're actually, with DOIRA's direction, is looking at a third boat for competitive nature. Laser maybe, but it doesn't provide for more than one kid.
My suggestion would be a multiple kid boat.
Yeah.
I think they just have more fun together and learn more from each other. And then they can switch positions.
Right.
So now you got crew and helm all in the same boat, and they learn from each other.
And have that graduation, so it's not a jump from this bathtub to
a high performance
to a high performance, because they take different skills.
Sure.
And if you're 11 and you're 5 foot, we've had 12-year-olds that in an Optimist they look like adults.
Sure. I know 15-year-olds have sailed Optimist.
That's
crazy.
It's the boat of choice, but we have to, the term fun is, I think, the thing that's got.
Hopefully, an evolution comes and you get to sail better boats.
Do people come to you to rig Optimist? I'm just curious.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't. You rig them all from the smallest to the biggest.
Exactly. Like I said, traveling to do a Santa Cruz 70, and Optimist is fine too.
Is it crazy that the new Optimist costs $6,000? New?
No, it's not crazy. You said it. The parents are involved.
Yeah.
They will spend any amount of money to make sure their kid's competitive, because they're the next Dennis Conner.
We have our fleet at Crescent now is we have 15 or 16 420s, because we cleaned out some garbage in the back, and there's some spider cracks on a couple of the older boats. They float, they sail, and if you're not Dennis Conner, they're perfectly fine boats.
Exactly.
But we don't want to get, the kids don't want to get in them because, well, they're not. That whole thing. I'm just thinking.
So, back when junior sailing started, the kids built their own boat.
Right.
I think we'd be better off with something like that.
The old joke used to be, if you go to a country club, never bet with a guy who's got duct tape on his golf bag.
No kidding, 'cause he's going to beat you. Well, that's,
Really good trick. He's got
going back to the Great Whisper, I
Right.
mean, the boat was never in great condition. The sales weren't great, but we won
Right.
because we knew how to sail well. So it's not really the equipment, like I said before. One bad tack's going to blow all the money you put in the bottom job.
Was that boat strictly rigged for racing?
No, I mean,
Was it cruising?
It was a Tartan 41 hull, you know, with a classic
Down
transom.
below, you could sleep on it?
All teak, yeah.
Yeah.
Bunks, all of it.
That must have been a great opportunity to grow up with that boat and dad and all the rest of it.
I got lucky because I got to skipper it when I was 23. They gave me the boat.
Very few folks in life get a chance to spend time with their father, building a business, having the recreational part of that business. Yeah, you've had, I'm not saying you've had a great life, you have had, I'm sure, but that's a pretty special opportunity.
I totally agree.
Well, anybody that's interested in coming down to, let me get back in the picture here.
Yeah.
Anybody coming back down to Thomas Hardware, they'll be at 95 Jean Street,
St.
Jean Street, my apologies, which is the old goat yard.
Correct.
Repeat what goat is, just if you don't know. G-O-8, I mean,
G-O-A-T. So the goat, there used to be a goat that lived there.
oh,
That's where the name came from.
Okay.
Captain Nemo.
legitimate goat.
Live
Not
goat.
Some greatest of all, okay.
Yeah.
Greatest of all time has nothing to do with the goat
No.
process, okay. Well, listen, I appreciate the insight, and thank you for letting us sit here at
Absolutely.
the tug on.
Beautiful temporary facility.
It is. It's been rocking up and down, but hopefully they won't show the camera. So again, appreciate your time. And
No problem.
We'll put up the phone numbers and all that other stuff. And
I appreciate
off
it.
the spring. Thank you.